Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the Options Mentor. All right, well, last week I mentioned that I have a new course out called the Complete Diagonal Course. And today I'm going to show you a setup and even an adjustment that you could use from it. That's something I haven't shown here before, but this is just touching the surface of what you can learn with this course, which you'll find there in my description. There will be a link to the course. Of course, you can always go to arimer.com/mark and find all the stuff I offer over there. But let's get started. All right, so we've had a market that's been up around all-time highs, been at all-time highs, kind of chopping around. And this is a trade that you could put on. Maybe you think the path of least resistance is a little lower, or maybe hanging around here. Well, okay. One thing you can do is go out and do a put diagonal. Well, with this one, I went out a couple of weeks, a little over a couple of weeks, to July 19th, and I sold the 5,500 put and I bought the 5,510 put in this example, and this is using the Friday close of 5,460. So the idea is here, all right, if we hang around here, you're going to make money on time decay, just like a calendar. In fact, diagonals are like a calendar's cousin, as we say, because the only difference is that they're both in different expirations, but the strikes are different. That's the difference between a diagonal and a calendar. If it goes down, well, this is just pure price. You just take the money because you don't have any risk on the downside. You just have profit. You close it, take your money. And if it hangs around here, you're all right. The only way you have to take action is if it gets all the way up, maybe to 55.20 in this example, because you're really starting to drop down, get a drawdown here on some cash. Well, what you can do if you get there is you can always add a call diagonal to it. So if I was at 55.20, one example, I could go up to 55.50, same expirations. You got to use the same two expirations. And then you add a call diagonal. Now this diagonal looks a little cheap here. It wouldn't be that cheap because at that point it would have more value if we were all the way up at 55.30. So the idea is to just visually look at this. We're at 55.20. We're really taking some heat. We're about out of room. You don't want to be out here for sure. But if I put on the 55.50 call diagonal, now look where I am. Now I'm back closer to the center of the graph. In fact, you could probably go in even a little closer. You could do the 55.40, 45. And there you'd be. Now you'd be back in the middle of a graph, time decay in your favor. Now it does change the downside, of course. It's not all profit down here, but now you have room for it to roam up here and you can make money on time decay. So it's a multi-faceted trade approach. And this is just one of the things that I teach you about the nuances of diagonals and double diagonals, when to use them, how to adjust them, all the different ways you can adjust them. This is just one way, but there's a lot of other things you can do depending on circumstances or maybe even your own market sentiment. So this course will offer all that to you, as well as, every day over there, I have an opening bell. I have traders lounges. You can get information on how you can join us over there for that. And somebody asked me in one of the comments last time, hey, there's a lot more than just putting on a trade and a setup. We need to know how to manage it. Indeed, that's what I teach over at arimer.com. You certainly should never put on a trade live that you don't know when and how you're taking it off or repairing it. And if you don't know the answers to those questions and how you're going to repair it, you shouldn't have live money on it. Trade paper, which is where I encourage everyone to start until you get your feet wet, get to understanding something. Then if a strategy like this is right for you, then you could consider it. But first you need to learn it and you need to follow it on paper, maybe trade small after that when you think you're ready. And you have to have all these answers and all this plan. You don't want to try to figure out what to do when the market's going against you. You already want to have that answer so you know exactly what you're going to do if the market goes against you. So I wanted to acquaint you guys with that, show you this trade. I do think this is a viable trade over the next couple of weeks if the VIX stays here, even probably anywhere from this volatility, even a little lower, or all the way up to 16, 18 on the VIX. You could consider something like this. And that's another heavy part of the course. What's the VIX ranges, which is how I determine what I'm doing with all my different trades and the things that you consider to go in to all this. Also, just my daily routine. What do I do over there every day? What's something I think is important for a trader to do every day? I go over all that, of course, in the course. But I will be back with you next week. I appreciate you subscribing to my channel. Please tell your friends. Let me know what you think in the comments. As you know, I get back to those. And I'll be back with you next week. And please go over to arimer.com, information in the description. Check out my course, all my other offerings over there. If you want, if you want to get some education, you cannot, I have never seen it. You can't get all free education on YouTube. There's a lot of things missing in that type of thing to get the full picture before you start using your real money. And over at arimer.com, I offer very affordable prices on how you can talk to me every day on Slack, all these other things you can do by joining up with us over there. So I'll be back with you guys next week. Have a great one. Bye-bye.